Hello everyone, my name is Hisham. I'm the owner of Clemson Aeronautics, where we make the riveting and dimpling tools. Today we're going to be riveting a number 4 rivet with our CARD1 machine. And I have prepared the material to do that, which is basically a 1/8 thick aluminum that I actually got from Lowe's. And the other piece is a 0.025, 25 thousandths thick aluminum, which is actually a leftover piece that I had, which is the same thickness as the horizontal stabilizer skin. I prepared it by mass drilling everything and then countersinking that thick piece. And what we're trying to do here is resemble one of the spars that have a doubler on it. And this is actually kind of the same like the vertical stabilizer and maybe even the horizontal stabilizer. The skin thickness might be just a little bit more, but the doublers was about this thick. So we are going to simulate that we're riveting a spar of some sort, with the doubler on a spar using the number 4 rivet. And for this particular experiment, I chose the 4-6 rivet. I think if you're watching this video, you're building an airplane and you are in the airframe phase, you need to get used to dealing with the numbers. So it's always good to do a review. I could just sit here and pull the trigger and squeeze that thing and to perfection, and you wouldn't see otherwise. But it's a good opportunity to do a review for you. I am an AMP. I finished my AMP about 3 years ago, actually more than 3 years ago. And so let's just go ahead and review some numbers. According to the material that we have, to determine the size of the rivet that I have to use, I have to use the standard formula that the FAA came up with, and the engineers and a lot of people that's a lot smarter than I am with the experience of the last 120 years of aviation come up with. And that formula is basically 1.5 the thickness of the rivet, the diameter of the rivet that I'm going to use, multiplied by the diameter of the rivet, and the result of that, we add the thickness of the material. In our case here, the rivet is 0.125, so multiply that by 1.5 and add the material thickness to it, and the end result is 0.3375. This is the length of the rivet that we need to rivet together the stuff that we have here. Now, the -5 rivet, you can see here, is 0.309. It's supposed to be 0.3125. 5/16 pretty much. And the -6 rivet, it's supposed to be 0.375, but it is 0.370. That's those rivets here that I measured with my caliper. Very close. It's only just a few thousandths off. So now I'm using the -6 rivet, so I know I have plenty of rivet material to squeeze and make a really nice shop head. So we're gonna go ahead and get close and set up to start riveting. To start my setup, I would like to see about 50 thousandths of air between that die and the top of my ram to do my final tweaking with. And I'm going to have my riveting pin all the way up in the ram here. When I pull the trigger and look from the side here, I don't want to see that the riveting pin is touching the rivet itself yet. This is a kind of a safe position to start my setup. Now that I know when I pull the trigger and it comes down, the bottom of my riveting pin is not touching the rivet yet. So if I can loosen this up, let me change hands here, and I am unscrewing my riveting pin. So if I look from here, the bottom of my riveting pin is touching the top of the rivet, and I am going to make a mark on the riveting pin with my marker on the nut right here, and I'm gonna leave it in place. Here it is. Then I'm gonna let go with it. Now I know when I pull this trigger, every time, the bottom of the riveting pin will barely touch the top of my rivet. Now I need to know how much I am wanting to lower this riveting pin, so when I pull the trigger, it actually squeezes the rivet. Let's review that. Now that I made a decision, I'm gonna make 2 full turns on my riveting pin. I don't want the nut to move off of the pin. I want them both to move together so I would know how many turns I'm turning. So right now the dot is facing me. I'm gonna make 2 full turns to come out. Here's 1 full turn. Here's the second full turn. That brought down my riveting pin 150 thousandths. So I'm gonna hold it in place and not move it. Then I'm gonna secure the nut. I'm gonna use the 3/4 inch wrench to do it, nice and snug. And now I'm going to rivet the first rivet and see what happens. .177, let's say. Now, what is the minimum that I need for this size rivet? It is 1.5 times the diameter. So 0.125 multiplied by 1.5 equal. So the minimum rivet diameter is 0.1875. Now I have enough material on this rivet, so I can go a little bit more than that. Even I can go to 200,000 if that's feasible. Now, we said 177,000 this way, so I want to go another 25,000. 25,000 plus, I'm sure there will be more flex from the machine itself, so I'm gonna assume it is, let's say, 30,000. To make a more precise adjustment, in this case, I'm just going to remove the pin up here, and each turn from the rivet squeezer pin itself represents roughly 30,000 of an inch. So I am going to go like this, and let's see if I can do the camera just a little bit here, and I'm gonna do it here, come up a full turn, and that gives me about 30,000 of an inch, and I'm gonna put my pin back in and try this again. Let's do it. Now, let's check the diameter. 191.5, which is a little over the minimum that I need. That means the way it is, it's a perfect rivet. Now, the other dimension that I have to worry about is the height. Well, I don't like to actually measure this way, but 0.086. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's not a very accurate way of doing it. Let's say 0.089. What is the minimum height for this rivet? Is half of the diameter. So 0.125 divided by 2, 0.062. I still have like 25 thousandths I can actually squeeze and make a bigger shop head and still have a sufficient height. So I guess I can go down another 15 thousandths so to get a really nice rivet. So I am going to just turn this almost half a turn, and I am going to, I think we are secure that way, and we'll try and rivet another one. It's a good idea to be in the middle of the riveting pin when you're doing it. That is looking so nice, guys. Look at that rivet. Look how beautiful it is. Now let's measure it. I bet you it will be within tolerance, both the height and the diameter. The diameter is 0.197, which is basically 10 thousandths bigger than the minimum diameter for a -4 rivet. Now, the height of the head, let's see if you guys can see that. 0.082, which is basically actually 20 thousandths more than what I need. So I can actually squeeze a little bit more on the next rivet and get even better results. So I'm going to do this here. Let's say I want to go down another 10,000. I think I can do 10,000. So about a third of a turn here. That's the beauty of this machine. You can, using the stuff you paid money for, to get just beautiful results. So now I'm going to rivet that first rivet right here, and let's see what kind of result we get. Again, I'm gonna aim for the middle of the riveting pin. I'm a little bit to the side. I'm gonna do it this way. Oh man, this is absolutely beautiful. Here it is, and that's this rivet right here. And let's measure this rivet together here. 0.198 height. I'm not measuring correctly. 0.072. So this particular rivet right here, so I riveted that one first, then this one, then this one. This one I had to do it like twice so I can tweak it with. This one is perfect. This one is even better. I am going to re-squeeze this one and check to see if I can actually get it closer to what we want. And I'm gonna do it with a rapid punch kind of like deal. That was a little bit too much of a punch, and the reason has it is that I might have the air pressure just a little bit too much. But let's go ahead and check. 0.198 and 0.072. So we actually fixed the first one to match the last one. Let's do this one, the second one, but a little bit slower. And see if we had fixed that, and they're all the same now. 200,000, well, 0.999. So now, folks, this is what this machine is about. Perfection. So in three rivets, those three rivets now are identical. I mean, like here is 0.198, 0.1995, 0.99, 0.199. Those three rivets are within a thousandth of an inch. A thousandth of an inch. Guys, this piece of paper This piece of paper, folks, is 4.5 thousandths of an inch. Those 3 rivets that I used to set up the machine with is within 1/1000th of an inch. Now, if you can imagine, you're doing the doublers on the horizontal stabilizer spar or the vertical stabilizer spar or whatever, like the rudder or elevators or whatever, if there's any doublers in there. I don't remember the elevator, but I remember there was hinges on the rudder. This machine is the perfect machine for it. Why? Because basically you can have your spar on the table. So let's assume this is the table, your table here, and you're imitating what I'm doing, and you're set up, and you have a very long spar, and it's sitting on the table, and all you had to do is move the spar left and right, and actually move the machine back and forth if you build a card like I have, or just a simple card on wheels, to leave your work on the table so it will be perpendicular. The math, the geometry on this is what's making this possible. So guys, you ask anybody that has built an airplane, the one thing that he doesn't have enough of is time. He doesn't have time. You don't have time. So you need to take some of the bad scenarios out of the picture. So because you rivet 50 rivets, you squeeze 50 rivets, and you do one mistake, it takes you back. I mean, every rivet you rivet is a step forward. Every mistake you do takes you 50 steps backward, because it will take time to drill that rivet up, then clean up behind, and God knows what's going to happen when you're trying to drill that rivet out. It takes you 5 minutes to set up to do this. Now, it took me a lot longer than that. I can see this, just this part of the video. It took over 15 minutes, about 15 minutes, because I'm filming. But by the time you guys get to that point where you're riveting spars and stuff like that, you already are so familiar, and it is so easy. And let's just go over some numbers. I went over the numbers with you about choosing the rivet and the material and so forth. And I'm just giving you numbers on this pin and the adjustable pin on the squeezer. Guys, you paid $600 for this thing. Don't leave it in the drawer or bring it out and hold it in your hand, and then if you're holding that squeezer, are you guaranteed perpendicular here when you're squeezing that rivet? No, you're not. Not, because if you look at it from this side, it could be this way a little bit or this way a little bit, right? Or a little bit this way or a little bit this way. If this, when you're holding the squeezer in your hand and using a yoke to rivet this spar, the doublers on the spar, okay? Or best case scenario, you have the spar on a table or mounted this way or whatever it is, and then you're holding the squeezer with your hand. So you're just eyeballing it. It could be a little bit this way or this way or this way or this way. This machine takes the guessing out of that game, You have a spar sitting on the table, and the machine is perpendicular on it. You pull the trigger after you saw 3 rivets are within 1/1000 of an inch, both in diameter and height. You just go ahead and do the rest of 100 rivets after that. 1,000 rivets is gonna come down to the same point and stop. That's what this machine is about. So the thread on this riveting pin is 1/2-13. What does that mean to you? Now here is let's assume this is the riveting pin, this is basically the trailing edge of the rudder. Again, you see a little slope on this thing right here. This is for the trailing edge. You don't need to buy that $36 tool to do the trailing edge. This will do it, and it will do it perfectly, because you're going to lay your rudder down on the table, and this will come down perpendicular. So according to instruction, you're supposed to squeeze it halfway, then use that tool from Cleveland to squeeze it, the rest of it, with the angle. So what did Hisham do? Hisham made you a special riveting pin, not only for the rudder and the flaps and the ailerons. You can use that, so you don't need to buy that $36 tool. You get that free with the machine. So what you do, back to the numbers. So this is sitting inside the ram here, and when you turn this thing, you can see it's coming down. Now it's going up. So this way it comes down. This way it goes back up. So if you need to squeeze a rivet more, you go this way. So you want to determine how far down you want to go, then translate that into turns. Well, how far does it go down with each turn? This is a 1/2-13 thread. What does that mean? It means every inch of that 1/2-13 threads. So I'm going to say 1/2-13. 1 divided by 13 equal. So every time you do a full turn with that pin, it goes down 0.0769. Let's say, just to make it a little bit less complicated, 0.075. So if you want to go down, you go this way, 1 turn, you go down 75,000. You want to go up, go the other way, you go up 75,000. So this is the adjustment. This is how much you control, like the rough setup part of it. Then when you want to tweak it, you tweak it from up here. So what is the thread up here? The thread on your adjustable pin is 32 threads per inch. So again, 1 divided by 32. So every turn is 0.03125. Let's skip the 125. Consider it 30,000, and it's good. So what you do is you make a mark on the flat over here in the pin, and this is nice and smooth if you put it correctly in here. I use that little pretty sharp piece here, and I can basically turn it without moving it. But I did that to demonstrate to you guys that this is an option. You can go like this, and turn it left or right, then put the pin back in like nothing happened, but you adjusted it. So those are the two numbers that you have. This thread is 1/2-13. This is 5/16 32. So it's 32 threads per inch, and this is 13 threads per inch. I hope you guys learned something. I don't know whether I just made things more complicated or easier, but I bet most of you thought it was just I'm going through too much details. And the reason I do is because I had people that visited me over here and said, Hisham, I'm like you, over 65, and I need somebody to talk slow to me and break it down to pieces so when I digest it, I can understand it and I can use your machine. And that's what I did. So this is pretty much the setup to squeeze the number 4 rivet. So far we talked about flathead rivet. So if we want to do a universal dome head rivet, what do? We just use the Dimpling plate holder or die holder, excuse me, and just put a regular die that would hold the number 4 rivet head, and this is a dome head rivet head. So I'm gonna put that in the machine and put it like that. So in essence, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the riveting plate out, put the dimpling plate, put the riveting die for a number 4 rivet, put it in place of it, and when I set this up, it will be pretty much sitting like this, and the rivet will be long enough where you can actually hold the rivet with your hand and you can feel it that it went into the cup, and you can squeeze the rivet that way. And to be honest with you, and you're thinking this rivet will fall out. You can put a tape on it. You can put a painter's tape on it and it will work. The other thing that I found that was really reality, and you can go back and look where I actually riveted parts of my airplane, the number 4 rivet, and you're gonna see by the time like the hole is perfect size, and if you put the rivet in it, it will fall out, but it barely fall out because it just got like 1,000 clearance or something like that. But I had primed it, and that primer is in there, so when I put the rivet in there, that primer holds that rivet tight, so when I flip it and put it on there, it doesn't fall out. So that's how you rivet the same way a universal head rivet. Well folks, this is pretty much it for the riveting of the number 4 rivet. I'm sure installing the brace is on there. If you have a brace that says left or right, the right one goes on this side, the left one on this side, tighten it really nice and snug before you start riveting your spars or the number 4 rivet. This is it for this video. I'm sorry for the length of the video, but I really don't think about it as a long video as some people might think it is, but it's pretty much an instructional video, and I'm glad I went over the numbers with you guys because you're gonna need that while you're building the airplane. You are the airframe mechanic at this time, and you're actually not fixing something, you're building an airplane. So knowledge is very important. At the end, thank you very much for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.